Step number 1, understand the given statement. So when I say understand the given statement, that means that you have to read the question thoroughly and understand what are the two sides of thoughts, what are the keywords in this question, and what exactly this essay is about. So a lot of the times, I ask my students to make sure that you thoroughly read your question at least 5 times before you start attempting it, because it is important for you to grasp that what are you going to write before you even start to write, because then it is easier for you to maintain the flow and manage your time if you know what to write and you plan it properly. Now, the question says, if we see what are the two sides of arguments, some people believe that purpose of education, that means you're going to talk about what is the purpose of education. Now, one side of people think it is to contribute to the society. However, the other side thinks it is to achieve personal ambitions. So now we have very clear and concise that the two school of thoughts are either the purpose of education is to contribute to the society, or it is to achieve personal ambitions. Now you will think of pointers for both the sides, what you're going to talk about, because since it's a discussion essay, we're not going to only talk about what you prefer to talk about, but both of the arguments. So contribute to society, why do you think the purpose of education should be or is to contribute to the society? How does that education help you achieve that? Or, and then the other side, achieve personal ambitions. What do you think? How do we achieve personal ambitions? Step 2, understand the instruction. So since we have already discussed both the sides, what we are left with is opinion. Now, opinion is also very important in this essay. So make sure that you give your opinion and clearly state it in your essay that this is my opinion on the matter. So the examiner is fully satisfied with your answer. So when you think about this particular question, there are two ways you can express your opinion. What are those two ways? So let's talk about those two ways quickly. So number 1 is a balanced opinion, and the other one is an unbalanced opinion. So I'll start with the unbalanced opinion. So as it is clear from the name itself, when you're talking about one side, when you prefer one side over the other, that you clearly know, okay, let's say you clearly think the purpose of education is to contribute to the society. That is an unbalanced opinion or a one-sided opinion. That means you are completely siding your opinion with one side of the argument. When that is the case, we can add our opinion with the paragraph that discusses that particular school of thought. What do I mean by that? Let's just quickly deconstruct the structure of IELTS essay here. So we'll start with an introduction, as always. Then we'll move on to body paragraph 1. Now, since body paragraph 1, we're going to talk about contribute to the society. If you side with this opinion, if you think it is to achieve personal ambitions, then you can write achieve personal ambitions before you write contribute to the society. So once you're done discussing it neutrally, then you can add a line within this paragraph where you can state your opinion. That in my opinion, I also believe that the purpose of education is to contribute to the society. Then we have body paragraph 2, that will be about achieving personal goals. And then we can conclude it with a conclusion. So this is a structure for an unbalanced opinion when you are siding with one side of the argument. But if you have a balanced opinion, that means you believe, okay, partially it is to contribute to the society, but it is also about achieving personal ambitions. So that is a balanced opinion, a partial opinion. That is when we will add a third body paragraph just for our balanced opinion. To clearly state how do you believe this matter should be taken. All right. And then we will remove this. So this will be a structure for a balanced opinion. So remember, before attempting your question, you should be clear on what your opinion is so that you can structure your body paragraphs accordingly. All right. Let's move on. Last but not the least is to generate content. Now, as I again keep mentioning again and again, generate content or plan your content before you start writing. So in one word, make sure that you make pointers below your whatever rough sheet that you have in your hand, and you make pointers whatever you're going to write in your essay. So when you talk about contributing to society, Think about how does it contribute to society and how it is the purpose of education. Write that down and then move on to the personal ambitions and then write down your opinion. So whatever points you wish to discuss, make sure that you have a faint idea of what you're going to write and how you're going to write before you even start attempting writing the very first introduction on the very first word of your essay. All right. So for this particular essay, the sample that we have chosen is a balanced opinion. So we will be having a third paragraph for this in this particular discussion essay where we'll be talking about our balanced opinion. All right, so let's move forward. Let's start with the introductory paragraph. So introductory paragraphs say, before I dive into what we have written, let's quickly remember what is the introduction structure. So the structure of an introduction is you start with your paraphrased statement. What do I mean by paraphrased statement? Whatever the question is given to you, you write down it in your own words. You change the words, the kind of allocations, collocations that are given to you, and you make it, the essence of the sentence remains same. However, the wordings are changed. Then we move on to the pointers, if you wish to include any, and then the thesis statement. So what do I mean by thesis statement? Thesis statement is the answer to the given question. So what will be the answer to this particular instruction? So that means I'll be discussing both the sides and giving my opinion in the introduction itself. Do not commit the mistake of not mentioning your opinion or keeping it for the third body paragraph. Please do not do that. Make sure that from the very start, the examiner has a clear idea of what your opinion is going to be about and how your essay is going to divide into body paragraphs, or what points are you going to talk about. So let's start. While some argue that the main goal of education is to ensure that individuals make contributions to the betterment of society, others believe it should be primarily serve personal goals. So see how we have paraphrased this statement. In the question itself, it was given purpose of education. So we changed it with main goal of education. And then prepare individuals is to ensure that individuals make contributions to the betterment of society. So this is how you have changed the first sentence. And then instead of choosing to use simple sentences, we made it a compound sentence where we are using while and then choosing to write the both sentence in one full-fledged complex sentence. Others believe it should primarily serve personal goals. I personally believe, your opinion, the thesis of this question, that the educated individuals should not only focus on fulfilling their personal aspirations, but also contribute towards societal good. So that means the examiner is very clear from the very beginning that what your opinion is going to be about. The examiner already knows that this is your opinion and you're going to expand on this in your further essay. That is how an introduction should be, giving the complete idea or preface of what your essay is to the examiner. Let's move on. Body paragraph 1. So we'll be discussing the first side of the argument. One school of thought asserts that education should focus on preparing individuals to become responsible and active members of society, since it equips them with the knowledge and skills necessary to address societal challenges, thus fostering social cohesion and progress. To illustrate, that means to give an example, with an emphasis on holistic learning, a well-educated populace can engage in community service, drive positive change, and contribute to the greater good. A well-rounded education not only imparts academic knowledge, but also instills values, ethics, and a sense of responsibility. So this is how we have built upon our first argument. So what is the structure for your body paragraph here? Quickly, let's review it. So when you start your body paragraph, you give a topic sentence. Now, what is the purpose of topic sentence? The purpose of topic sentence is to give another introduction to this particular body paragraph. That in this body paragraph, what are we going to talk about? So our topic sentence starts with that education should focus on preparing individuals to become responsible and active members of society. That means now we know that in this paragraph, we are going to develop on the first side of the argument. Then we move to the supporting statement. So what is a supporting statement? So whatever your topic sentence was, you develop it, you prove it, you give reasoning for it, that this is why or this is how this happens. In the last, we give an example. These three are very important and necessary elements of a good body paragraph. So if you want to score 8 or higher than that, make sure that your body paragraph is sufficiently developed from topic sentence where you introduce the point, develop the point in supporting statement, and then give an example. Last but not least, something that is optional that you can add in your body paragraph is a summation sentence. So summation sentence is something that summarizes all of the things that you have talked about in your body paragraph. But this is optional and according to your will. So see, the first sentence, our topic sentence, starts from here. When we talk about one school of thought, asserts that education should focus on preparing individuals to become responsible and active members of society, since it equips them. So now here is the topic sentence. Then I'm giving the supporting statement within the same sentence, but using since. Since it equips them with the knowledge and skills necessary to address societal changes, thus fostering social cohesion and progress. So see, after my topic sentence, I built upon my argument. I did not just throw the argument around vaguely. I made sure that I build it properly and give proper reasoning and ideas of how it happens. Then an example, which I used a linker to illustrate. With an emphasis on holistic learning, a well-educated populace can engage in community service, drive positive change, and contribute to greater good. In summation, a well-rounded education not only imparts academic knowledge, but also instills values, ethics, and a sense of social responsibility, thus contributing to the society. So this is how we reconstructed our first body paragraph. All right. Let's move on to body paragraph 2, discussing the side number, argument number 2. So do you remember the structure of a body paragraph? Starts with the topic sentence, supporting statement, and an example. Let's see if we have it here or not. So we start with conversely. So conversely is one of the linkers that you can use. That means now we're going to talk about the opposite side of the argument. Okay. Some argue that education should primarily empower individuals to achieve their life goals. Topic sentence. Education is a means to unlock individual potential and nurture talents and passions. So this is my supporting statement, that education is also a mean to unlock your individual potential and nurture your talents and passions, thus your personal achievements. It enables personal growth, self-discovery, and fulfillment of one's dreams. So this is how I'm building upon my argument and telling them that this is how education is primarily to empower you as an individual, because it fulfills your dreams, because of it helps your personal growth, unlocks your individual potential, and however you choose to elaborate it or build upon it. Last but not the least, very important, your example, which I've used for instance here. By catering to personal ambitions, education can lead to happier and more fulfilled lives. All right. So this is our body paragraph 2. Let's move on to the opinion paragraph. So as I already stated in my earlier, that when you have a balanced opinion, that means opinion balances both sides of the argument, we will have a separate body paragraph. So I start with, in my opinion. Now the examiner clearly knows that this is a opinion paragraph. An ideal education system should strike a balance between both perspectives. A society benefits when its members are fulfilled and content. Education should provide a foundation for contributing to society, while also encouraging personal development and pursuit of individual goals, because we need to be fulfilled and content both. Striking this balance ensures that people harness their unique strengths to address societal needs while also leading satisfying lives. So this is how we have summarized our opinion, that it is important for us to focus on both the perspectives, because that is only how we can live both fulfilled and content lives. We'll be content when our personal achieves and aspirations are fulfilled and are achieved, but we will be fulfilled when we actually contribute or make a meaningful impact in the society. So because of these both factors, it is important for us to strike a balance between both societal needs and also having a satisfying life. As it is said, you can only extend your kindness to others when you have shown it to yourself or when you are fulfilled in yourself. All right. Last but not the least, we'll move on to the conclusion. So now, before reading out this conclusion, few things that we keep in mind always while writing a conclusion. A conclusion is nothing but a paraphrased version of your thesis statement. So remember what thesis statement was in the beginning when I mentioned it in the introduction. Thesis statement was the answer to the given instruction. So when we paraphrase that instruction, we can simply write down our conclusion with that. In conclusion, one thing to be noted of is no new arguments are to be added. A lot of times I have seen my students to just flush new arguments into their conclusion because they thought of it at the last moment. And they're like, okay, we can add this example in the last. No, you cannot do that. You cannot add any new example or any new arguments in your conclusion. You can only talk about the things that you've already talked about in your previous body paragraphs. So keeping this in mind, let's read the conclusion. So we start with, in conclusion, again, a linker. Education serves a dual purpose. It prepares individuals to contribute to society and empowers them to pursue personal ambitions. Ultimately, education should enable a harmonious blend of personal growth and societal engagement. You see, this is just the paraphrased version of what we wrote in the introduction. So that marks the end of the essay with the conclusion being paraphrased. All right. Let's just move on to the final essay. Okay, so this is how the final essay looks like. With your introduction, 3 body paragraphs, 1 for one side argument, body paragraph 2 for side argument number 2, and body paragraph 3 for your balanced opinion, and then conclusion. Now, apart from the structure of this essay, few other things that are really important for you to make sure that you write in your essay or fulfill in your essay are the 4 criteria that you are marked on. It starts with your task response. So when I say task response means that you are fulfilling what was being asked of you. So you have fulfilled the examiner's question. So task response here would include that you have talked about both the sides, they are relevant, the points are relevant, they actually make sense or they are on the track of this particular essay, that topic that is given to you. Then you have fulfilled the instruction that is given to you. So what was the instruction? Discuss both sides and give your opinion. If you have done that, that means you will score well in your task response. Then comes your coherence and cohesion. So what do I mean by coherence and cohesion? Coherence and cohesion is when you transition from one idea to another, is it a smooth transition? Your ideas connecting from one to another, that is coherence and cohesion. And how can you ensure that? By using linkers, by using different styles of writing and making sure that you follow a structured way of writing so that it is coherent and cohesive. Next, we have grammatical range and accuracy. This I will discuss in detail in a while, but in short, grammatical range and accuracy, as the name already suggests, grammatical accuracy is how accurate your grammar is. If your punctuation is correct, make a note. Your punctuation is also marked in your IELTS exam. So make sure you know how to place your commas, how to place your full stops. And then we have grammatical, it also includes your subject-verb agreement. And for grammatical range, I mean using a range of tenses. You not just stick to one tense, use perfect tenses, continuous tenses, all to show that you have a full grasp over the language, and use different types of sentence structures from passive sentence to active sentences, conditional statements, complex statements, compound statements. Use all of these statements, and for an essay, it is important for you to use at least one complex sentence in each paragraph. So that means around 4 to 5 complex sentences should be there in your final essay. Last but not the least is your lexical resource. So as the name suggests, the lexical resource is your vocabulary. So that means the kind of words that you're using. For your essay, do not use any informal words, any slangs, any sort of abbreviations, and any word or a idiom that is not recognized in the formal dictionary. So a lexical resource should be very academic, it should be very formal, but you should also have synonyms for the words that are given to you. So instead of repeating the words over and over again, look for the synonyms that you can replace it with. And sometimes it's not just about synonyms, you can also change the part of speech of the word so that you have another word and you have written it in a different manner instead of just repeating it over and over again. So these are the 4 criteria assessments that you have to focus upon. Now, one thing that we will finally have a look over is the grammatical range, as I talked about. So when I mention grammatical range, that means different kinds of sentences to be used in your essay. The very first sentence of this particular essay is a, a complex sentence. While, using while. So when I say while, some argue that the main goal of education is to ensure that individuals make contributions to betterment of society. This sentence is incomplete if I leave it here, right? Because there is something to be said after this. So that's when we say the independent part of the sentence. So there's a dependent clause and there's an independent clause, and both of them come together to make sense. When this happens, that is when we form a complex sentence. There are other sentences in this particular essay. For example, this one, where we have one school of thought asserts that education should focus on preparing individuals to become responsible and active members of society, since it equips them with knowledge and skills necessary to address societal changes, thus fostering social cohesion and progress. So this sentence is a mix of complex and compound sentence. Since we have used and to add phrases and also used since to join independent and dependent clauses, this is a combination of complex compound sentence. So using these kind of sentences in your essay shows the range you hold over the grammatical structures and over the range of sentences that can be used in English. For coherence and cohesion, I talked about linkers. So what are these linkers? For example, conversely, one school of thought, to illustrate, for instance, in my opinion, in conclusion, ultimately. So all these words submit as a they act as a transition, as a bridge between the two sentences. So when you're moving from one idea to the other, when you're talking about for example, in this particular body paragraph, when we were talking about one side and then we shifted to the other, so we used conversely. So that gives us the idea that, okay, this body paragraph is going to transition into another school of thought. So that is how you can use these linkers to connect between the points and give a smooth transition between the ideas, thus enhancing your coherence and cohesion. So this is all that you required for a well-rounded essay. For more such suggestions and tips or any questions, if you want one-to-one help, you can visit our website, or for you can also see some other master classes that can help you get these lexical resources, build upon them over time, and see what are the different structures for different essays that are being used. For more such interactive IELTS sessions and content, please follow us on LinkedIn, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Here's the tag for our YouTube and LinkedIn channel. If you have any other questions or if you want to access some resources regarding the IELTS, visit our website on www.yunolearning.com, and you can also give us a call at this particular number given on the screen. So that is all for today. Please make sure that you subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of the free masterclasses that we are arranging for you. Thank you so much.